I actually supported, Mr. Chairman, the 2012 reauthorization, and there will be another day, in my judgment, to debate the merits and demerits of the bank and the reauthorization. And there will be reasonable minds on both sides of that, and there will be colleagues that I respect on both sides of that. What, Mr. Chairman, is not open for debate is whether or not the bank and the Department of Treasury have a responsibility to cooperate with oversight. This committee has a responsibility to provide oversight, and you have a corresponding obligation to assist with that. So, Mr. Sheets, can you tell me with specificity the name of the person negotiating the end of the need for Ex-Im banks?
So I would say, consistent with the mandate, that there are a number of people.
Okay, well then give me all the names.
I would say, consistent with the mandate, the responsibility rests with the Secretary, with me.
Okay, well, are you going to make yourself available for a transcribed interview with Financial Services so they can ask you about the status of those negotiations to end the need for the banks?
We have, in my remarks today, outlined in some detail the things that we're doing. And we are vigorously engaged.
That actually, Mr. Sheets, was not my question. My question is, are you willing to make yourself available for a transcribed interview so my colleagues on Financial Services can ask you with specificity what steps you're taking as the 2012 reauthorization required to end the need for such banks?
We as a regular and routine matter, make ourselves available to Congress.
And you have updated Chairman Hensarling on all the progress that's being made with specificity?
Consistent with the mandate.
You don't have to say consistent with the mandate. You and I both know what we're talking about.
No. Consistent with the mandate, we're required to submit an annual report. And
that's not my question, Mr. Sheets. My question is very particular. Are you willing to submit to a transcribed interview with Financial Services so they can ask you about all the progress you've been making about ending the need for Ex-Im banks? You can start with a yes and a no, and then you can explain it.
And as I said, as a routine matter.
No, you haven't said. That's my point, Mr. Sheets, is you haven't said, and it took forever for you to respond to a request from Chairman Hensarling. I'm going to tell you this, Mr. Sheets. Right now, the single best argument against reauthorization is you. Chairman Hochberg, you referred to transcribed interviews as inherently adversarial. Tell me why you said that.
We have made ourselves available, Congressman, for briefings repeatedly on the Hill. And
Mr. Chairman, I've got limited time, and I'm going to need you to kind of go straight to the answer. You described transcribed interviews as inherently adversarial. Why did you say that? What is inherently adversarial about taking testimony under oath, which I hasten to add is exactly what we're doing today?
And I think this is an excellent forum for that, sir.
Well, do you think Congress should be able to provide a little input into what they think an excellent forum is? Or are you the sole arbiter of that?
No, without question, sir. I'm saying we've made ourselves available for briefings, and we make ourselves available for hearings.
Will you make yourself and your employees, under the purview of oversight, available for a transcribed interview, just like everyone else has to submit to when they're requested by Congress?
We would prefer to have a briefing and understand what the transcribed interview would be about before we commit to that.
Well, Mr.
Hard to know what the subject is, sir.
I'm just going to tell you this. For those of us that live in states that benefit from the bank, and for those of us who have supported the reauthorization and would like to support future reauthorizations, I would encourage you to revisit your answer to that question. When the Chairman of Financial Services asked to take transcribed interviews, which is nothing more than an interview under oath behind closed doors, I fail to see how that's appreciably different from what you and I are doing right now. You're under oath right now.
Correct, sir.
It's being transcribed. That's what the lady beside you is doing. So what's the difference?
It's in public, sir.
So you prefer for these employees to be brought in public?
I would prefer it to be in a hearing setting where we have full disclosure, both sides of the aisle can hear, and both sides of the aisle can ask questions.
Have you ever been to a transcribed interview? Because both sides are represented there too, Mr. Chairman.
No, I have not.
Okay, well then, when you are subject to a transcribed interview, which may be soon, you will see that both sides get to participate in that. Now, I want to ask you one follow-up question because I'm out of time.